Imagine stepping into a seemingly ordinary KFC in the heart of California, the neon lights flickering invitingly under the golden arches of the drive-through, only to realize too late that the secret recipe isn't just 11 herbs and spices. It's something far more sinister, something that devours souls and twists flesh into nightmares. What if I told you that I barely escaped with my life, my sanity hanging by a thread, after uncovering horrors that no one should ever witness? This isn't some urban legend or creepypasta. This is my real story, whispered from the shadows where I now hide, and once you hear it, you'll never look at a bucket of chicken the same way again. Stop scrolling right now, because if you don't, you might just find yourself craving the truth. Or worse, the terror that comes with it. My name is Alex Rivera, and I used to be just like you, an average guy in his 30s, grinding through life in the sprawling suburbs of Los Angeles. I worked as a delivery driver for one of those gig apps, zipping around the city in my beat-up Honda, dropping off packages and takeout to folks too busy or too lazy to leave their couches. It was monotonous, sure, but it paid the bills, and every now and then, I'd treat myself to a late-night snack. KFC was my go-to. That crispy, greasy goodness hit the spot after a long shift. Little did I know, on that fateful night in October, my craving would lead me straight into the mouth of madness. The branch was off Highway 101, tucked away in a strip mall in Ventura County. Nothing fancy, just your standard fast food spot with the Colonel's smiling face beaming from the sign. But as I pulled up around midnight, something felt off. The parking lot was empty, save for a couple of rusted vans with tinted windows, and the fluorescent lights inside buzzed like angry hornets. I shrugged it off, maybe it was a slow night, and pushed through the glass doors, the familiar chime announcing my arrival. The air inside hit me like a slap, thick, metallic, with an undercurrent of something rotten, like spoiled meat left out in the sun. The cashier, a gaunt woman with hollow eyes and skin stretched tight over her bones, stared at me without blinking. "Welcome to KFC," she droned, her voice flat and mechanical, like a recording on loop. I ordered my usual, a 2-piece combo with mashed potatoes and a biscuit. She punched it in, her fingers lingering too long on the keys, and handed me a receipt with a number that seemed smeared in red ink. As I waited by the counter, I noticed the place was eerily quiet. No sizzle from the fryers, no chatter from the kitchen staff. Just the hum of the lights and a faint, rhythmic thumping from behind the swinging doors, marked employees only. Curiosity got the better of me. I leaned over the counter, peering through the small window in the door. What I saw made my stomach twist. Shadows moving unnaturally, elongated figures hunched over what looked like stainless steel tables, but instead of prepping chicken, they were dissecting something that twitched. I told myself it was just my imagination, fueled by too many horror podcasts during drives. But when my order came up, slid across the counter in a greasy bag, I couldn't shake the unease. I grabbed it and headed to a corner booth, unwrapping the food under the harsh glow of the overhead lamp. The chicken looked normal at first, golden, brown, steaming hot. But as I bit into the thigh, a strange flavor exploded on my tongue. Not spicy or salty, but coppery, like blood mixed with herbs. I spat it out, gagging, and that's when I noticed the bone inside wasn't quite right. It was too long, too thin, with joints that didn't match any poultry I'd ever seen. Human, no, that couldn't be. Panic rising, I glanced around. The cashier was gone, the front door locked from the inside. And then the thumping grew louder, closer, accompanied by whispers that slithered through the air vents. "Fresh meat. Tender, join us." Trapped, I bolted for the bathroom, hoping for a window or back exit. The door slammed shut behind me, and in the mirror, my reflection stared back with eyes that weren't mine, wide, terrified, but flickering with something else, something hungry. The walls seemed to pulse like living flesh, and from the stalls came a gurgling sound, as if the toilets were choking on secrets. I climbed onto the sink, prying at a small vent grate near the ceiling. It gave way with a screech, revealing a narrow duct just wide enough for me to squeeze through. As I hoisted myself up, cold fingers grazed my ankle, long, bony digits emerging from under the stall door. I kicked wildly, feeling bones crunch, and scrambled into the darkness of the vent, heart pounding like a drum in my chest. The crawl was endless, dust and grime coating my skin, but the whispers followed. You can't escape the recipe, you're part of it now. Emerging into what I thought was the kitchen, I dropped onto a tiled floor slick with, God, I don't even want to say it, viscera, pools of red, chunks of what looked like organs scattered amid feathers and batter crumbs. The air reeked of bleach and decay, and there, under the harsh industrial lights, were the employees. They weren't human, not anymore. Their uniforms were stained crimson, faces twisted into grotesque parodies of the colonel's smile, with beaks protruding from stretched lips and eyes bulging like overripe grapes. One turned to me, its head cocking at an impossible angle, clucking softly as it wielded a cleaver dripping with gore. Customer satisfaction guaranteed. It rasped, voice bubbling from a throat slit ear to ear. I ran, slipping on the mess, crashing through swinging doors into a back room that shouldn't exist. A labyrinth of corridors branching off like veins in a body. Deeper I went, driven by blind terror, the walls closing in with murals of fried chicken morphing into screaming faces. I found a door labeled processing, and against my better judgment, I peeked inside. Rows of cages lined the walls, not for birds, but for people, emaciated figures huddled in filth, their bodies marked with injection sites, feathers sprouting from pallid skin. Scientists, no, madmen in lab coats muttering about hybridization and the perfect breed. They were experimenting, turning humans into chicken people for what? The menu. My mind reeled as one captive locked eyes with me, mouthing help, before convulsing, bones cracking as wings tore through his back. A siren blared, they'd found me missing. Footsteps echoed, clawed and uneven, closing in. I fled into the basement, stairs descending into pitch black. The temperature dropped, breath fogging, as I fumbled for my phone's flashlight. What it illuminated haunts me still. Vats of bubbling oil, bodies suspended within, frying alive, their screams muffled by the sizzle. Limbs floated to the surface, breaded and golden, ready for packaging. And at the center, a throne of bones occupied by the manager, a colossal figure, part man, part fowl, with a beard of feathers and eyes glowing red. You've seen too much, it crowed, voice echoing like thunder, but we can use you, join the flock. Tendrils of darkness snaked toward me, but I spotted a grate leading to the sewers. Diving through, I plunged into fetid water, swimming desperately as beaks snapped at my heels. Surfacing in a storm drain miles away, I gasped for air, vomiting up bits of that cursed chicken. Dawn broke as I staggered to the highway, flagging down a trucker who thought I was on drugs. The police laughed off my story, said the KFC was just a normal joint, no reports of anything amiss. But I know the truth, they're covering it up, or worse, part of it. Now I hide, jumping at every cluck or fry smell, my skin itching with phantom feathers. If you're listening, stay away from that branch, and if you crave KFC, think twice, because once you're in, you might never escape. But wait, that's not the end. You see, escaping wasn't the worst part. The nightmares started that first night, vivid and unrelenting. I'd wake up pecking at my arms, drawing blood, convinced I was turning. Doctors called it PTSD, prescribed pills that only dulled the edges. But the changes were real subtle at first, a feather here, a craving for raw corn there. I researched online, deep in the dark web forums where the truly paranoid gather. Whispers of a corporation, wide conspiracy. KFC wasn't just fast food. It was a front for a biotech firm experimenting with genetic splicing, creating human-animal hybrids for what? Cheap labor, super soldiers, or something more insidious, like populating the world with obedient consumers, addicted to their product on a cellular level. I tracked down former employees, those who got out before it consumed them. One, A fry cook named Maria met me in a dingy motel off the interstate. Her hands trembled as she showed me scars, beak marks on her wrists. "It starts with the batter," she whispered. "They lace it with a serum, turns your DNA inside out. The customers, test subjects, eat enough, and you change." She spoke of underground farms beneath select branches, where failures were processed into the menu. Ever wonder why the chicken tastes so good? It's us, parts of us. Her eyes darted to the window, and that's when I heard it, the flap of wings outside. We barricaded the door, but they came through the vents, hybrid horrors with human faces and chicken bodies, clucking our names. We fought them off with a lamp and a chair, feathers flying like confetti from hell. Maria didn't make it. They dragged her away, her screams fading into gurgles. I escaped again, but not unscathed. A peck to my neck that burned like fire. Now the infection spreads. My reflection shows irises turning yellow, palms ning a sea slitka. I record this in a bunker I've fortified. You're not going anywhere. But they find me in my dreams. The manager's voice promising eternal hunger, satisfied only by flesh, human flesh, fried to perfection. Weeks blurred into months as I delved deeper into the rabbit hole. I hacked into public records. Turns out the Ventura branch was built over an old asylum, abandoned after experiments in the 50s on mind control via food additives. Coincidence? Hardly. The Colonel's legacy, they say, but twisted by corporate overlords seeking immortality through avian DNA. Birds live long, regenerate, why not humans? I found blueprints online leaked by whistleblowers, tunnels connecting branches across California, a network of horror labs pumping out mutants for the masses. One night, I infiltrated another location in San Diego, disguised as a health inspector. The facade was perfect, smiling staff, happy customers munching away. But in the back, the same nightmare, cages, vats, the thump of hearts sinking with fryers. I freed one prisoner, a kid no older than 20, his legs fused into drumsticks. We ran, alarms blaring, hybrids swarming like a feathered plague. Bullets from my stolen gun barely slowed them. They regenerated, wounds closing with oily sheen. We made it to my car, but he turned on me miles down the road, hunger in his eyes, pecking at my throat. I had to end him. His blood tasted like 11 herbs. Now I'm the last one, or so I think. The changes accelerate, my fingers webbing, toes curling into talons. I crave gravel for my gizzard, sea worms in every shadow. But I fight it, documenting everything for you. If this video finds its way online, share it, warn the world, boycott KFC, or better, burn them down. But be careful, they're watching. Every drive, through camera, every app order tracks you. If you feel a twitch after eating, run. Because the flock is growing, and soon we'll all be clucking in unison. The hook worked, didn't it? You're still here, heart racing, but the story's far from over. Let me take you back to that first escape. Details I omitted because they chill even me. In the sewers as I swam, things brushed my legs, not rats, but aborted experiments. Half-formed chicks with human faces, crying for mothers they'd never know. They latched on, tiny beaks piercing skin, injecting venom that burned through veins. I tore them off, but the poison lingered, birthing hallucinations of feathered angels devouring the sky. Above ground, I sought help from her friend, Jake, a conspiracy nut with a van full of tech. We holed up in his garage, poring over samples I smuggled out, chicken from the bag, analyzed under a microscope. "Holy shit," he muttered, "human cells fused with avian, this is Frankenstein level." But as night fell, the garage doors rattled. Hybrids outside, cooing lullabies of slaughter. Jake grabbed a shotgun, blasting through the metal, feathers exploding in red mist. We fled to the desert, Mojave's vastness our shield. There, under stars, he confessed, he'd eaten there once, felt the change starting. "Kill me if it takes hold," he begged. It did at dawn. His skin rippled, bones popping as wings burst forth. I honored his wish, tears mixing with blood. Alone again, I wandered, surviving on scraps, avoiding civilization. But the call grew stronger, a psychic pull from the manager, summoning the flock. I resisted, meditating in canyons, but visions assaulted me. Global domination, KFC towers rising like obelisks, humanity reduced to battery farms. I rallied online, anonymous posts on forums, gathering survivors. A meetup in an abandoned warehouse near Fresno. 10 of us, scarred and wary. We shared stories. A woman whose child mutated after kids' meals. A man who saw his wife breaded alive. Plans formed to expose it all, raid the Ventura branch with explosives, but they knew. Ambush at midnight, hybrids dropping from rafters, beaks glinting. Chaos ensued, screams, gunfire, feathers choking the air. I alone survived, crawling out bloodied. Bombs detonated behind me, the warehouse a pyre. Yet the branch stands, rebuilt overnight, as if nothing happened. Magic, money, both. Now, I broadcast from hiding, voice disguised, but they close in. If this cuts off, know they got me, but fight on. Destroy the recipe, save yourselves. The infection peaks now. My voice cracks into Cluck's mid-sentence. I see the appeal, endless hunger sated, no pain, just pecking order. No, I resist for you. Listen, the key is in the spices, 11 keys to hell. Burn the fields where they grow, tainted herbs from cursed soil. I found coordinates 34, 2008, 105 degrees N, 119, 2009, 145 degrees W. Go armed with fire, end it, but hurry. I feel wings stirring under skin, beak pushing through lips. Soon, I'll join them, a colonel in their army. If you see me on the menu, don't order. This is Alex Rivera signing off. Remember, it's finger, lickin' good, until it licks back.